Hey, and we're back for another video of Ace Combat 7. So, I'd like to point out a few things before we get started. Unfortunately, due to the environment where I'm recording, there might be a bit of background noise, but I'll try to reduce that during editing for this video. And I ran into a secondary problem. So, just to be transparent with you guys, I have already made a recording for this mission, but I was experiencing some technical difficulties once I started rendering the video for mission 2. So it turns out that the audio portion of it, like nothing. It was just quiet. It's literally just a video with no noise. And honestly, I was thankful. I was lucky. I actually found this out once I finished mission 3. So if anything, like it gives me a chance to recheck everything. Hopefully I did not lose anything. So basically I didn't want to upload a quiet video. So pretty much this is giving me a chance to record everything again. But you know what, it is what it is. And unfortunately, because of that, we're gonna get back into it.
As of 1 p.m. today, the Kingdom of Erusia has declared war on the Osean Federation. As soon as the news broke out, enemy aircraft began bombing Osean territory, causing widespread destruction. The Air Defense Force has released a statement saying this violent attack was carried out by drones. They speculate the drones were secretly transported to Osea in shipping containers and launched remotely. The Secretary of the Navy has stated that the enemy was targeting naval ports across the country. According to the Secretary, all of the nation's aircraft carriers, including one still under construction, sustained severe damage in the attacks. We have yet to hear back from the department as to the fate of Osean carriers currently at sea. Hold on, I've just received breaking news. The International Space Elevator, which is being built in southern Usea, has been seized by the Erusian army. Reports say former President Harling was touring the site at the time, but his current whereabouts are unknown. Our sources in government tell us it was Harling's policies regarding the space elevator that caused economic frictions in the area, and which ultimately led to this war. Located near Erusia, on the continent of Usea, the space elevator has been under construction for some time now. The Executive Office of the Osean Federation has declared a national state of emergency. They have ordered all its armed forces, including Usian peacekeepers, to mobilize and make the necessary preparations to launch an immediate counterattack. Ladies and gentlemen, our country is officially at war. Stay tuned for further updates.
Breaking news from ENN. Osea launched an attack on the capital today, striking Farbanti from their aircraft carrier, the Kestrel II. After a brutal battle, the Erusian Air Force successfully repelled them. During the air raid, the Osean Air Force fired missiles at the city and managed to shoot down a number of Erusian fighters. Some of the disabled planes then crashed into residential areas.
The world was screwed. 20 years ago, the Earth got slammed by an asteroid. Usea was on the wrong side of the planet and got hit. Hard. Refugees swarmed the Erusian Republic, the biggest country on the continent, plunging it into chaos. They were desperate and started a war, one they had no hope of winning. That's the war my dad fought and died in. The biggest nations from 2 continents went head-to-head, and the so-called righteous Oseans struck the deal that ended it. They fancied themselves the only nation that could bring peace and stability to the world. They even tried saving the Usians, still suffering from the disaster. That's how a space elevator, stretching way up into the sky, ended up being built in Usea, paid for by the Oseans. President Harling said he did it out of compassion for his fellow humans. But to the folks in Erusia, it looked like Osea was moving in to take over. Erusia went from being a republic back to being a kingdom. When they started this new war, they managed to get the drop on everyone.
As of 1 p.m. today,
The second the declaration hit the news, Erusian forces took control of the space elevator without spilling a single drop of blood. President Harling was touring the elevator when it happened and disappeared. Then, while that was going on, the Erusian ships that were docked all around Osea released a swarm of drone fighters they had hidden on board in containers. No one thought they were capable of doing what they did that day. With pinpoint accuracy, they managed to take out everything that was military, and not a single civilian was hurt in the process. Osea pissed lots of people off with their huge military presence around the world. Erusia didn't have the same reach, but they could hit their targets faster and cleaner. And when all this was going down, I just so happened to be in my flying drag racer. In case you were wondering, yeah, I survived. I crashed in a bombed-out Osean Air Force base, then got arrested for breaking wartime aviation laws or some crap. The world went from being at peace to being at war, all in the blink of an eye.
I'm Princess Rosa Cassette Delete of the Kingdom of Erusia. Today, Osean airstrikes have shattered the lives of countless Erusians. Their attacks practically leveled the school I went to. It is heartbreaking. Tragic.
I was tried, found guilty, and stuffed into a cargo ship. For company, I had some court-martialed soldiers. And remember those mothballed planes I told you about before? They were loaded on the ship too. We headed off down south for several days, and then swung east. That's how I got here. I was thousands of kilometers from Erusia, on the opposite side of the Usian continent. For a port, it was dull as hell. It had 3 rusty patrol boats, and the base? The fences were topped with razor wire, the tower had a searchlight and machine guns, and a truck with a gun turret was parked in front of the gate. Its gun was aimed at the yard. This was a prison. This place looked like a full-on base, but half the tanker trucks were just big balloons, and the runways weren't even paved, just painted on the dirt. The whole place was just one big fat lie. The only reason I was here is because they knew I'd restored a supersonic plane. They wanted me to make something out of the mothballed planes they brought, that they could park on the fake runway. Can you believe that shit? So, I tried to escape. They found out, and set the dogs on me.
Erusia has made a declaration to the Osean Federation and all countries on the Usian continent stationing the IUN peacekeeping force that we are now at war. Right after the declaration was made, surprise attacks began around the continent that have inflicted major damage to our armed forces. Forces aligned with Erusia are currently appearing throughout Usia. The combination of these forces has overwhelmed the majority of the continent, and they are now encroaching on us in the east. Additionally, the multinational space elevator has been seized by the Erusian military. After the previous war, the space elevator became both a symbol of peace and a valuable asset in the fight against growing energy concerns. Whoever has control of it will have enormous influence over the entire continent. We cannot turn a blind eye to this critical situation. The Fort Gray's Air Base Squadron has been entered into the order of battle to reclaim the elevator as an advance element. First, you will attack all hostiles coming in the east of Schofield Plateau to stop any interference with the Allied ground troops. The enemy has deployed several vehicles equipped with anti-air radar along the roads. You are to destroy them. They should not pose much of a threat. However, there is a high likelihood that the attack will draw more enemy air support. If that happens, fight them off swiftly and establish air superiority.
Woo, that problem was about to happen again. Alright guys, so basically this is your run-in-the-mill mission where we pretty much, the player gets the opportunity to pretty much bomb ground units, but this is basically the most like simplest missions you could get in any Ace Combat game. So like from Ace Combat 0, it was the mission Annex. For Ace Combat 4, it was that one mission where you have to just bomb a base to retake it. You know, very basic, but you know, just pretty much going over it again. Alright guys, so basically like what I mentioned in my first video, I was unfortunately spoiled for like certain plot points of the story, which you know like tends to happen, especially like with a game that's been over out like for a year. But if anything, like it feels like it will actually let me follow the story more intently, because although there are like certain things that may not take me by surprise as much, I still want to find out like how it all connects. And of course like there's gonna be like certain information that I will only know by playing mission by mission. So like a good example would be like Persona 5. Like so let's say someone like tells you like, oh, this is gonna be like the major plot points, like this is gonna be the twist that you were not supposed to find out until later. To me it's like this, as long as they don't tell you exactly like every single step of the game, like tell me the social links, the events, exactly what they're gonna tell you, any Easter eggs, the gameplay and stuff like that, as long as you don't tell me none of those, I'll play the game. Because I want to connect like how point A got to point B. So basically that's what's happening. And honestly, it's to be honest with you guys, I just love playing Ace Combat. If anything, it's been a long time since I played an Ace Combat game. Now, it's like I mentioned in my last video, the last one I did play was Ace Combat 6, but honestly, like, I'm sorry to anyone who liked Ace Combat 6, but I just wasn't a big fan of it. It didn't really grab the attention like the other entries did, because the only ones aside from that one that I did play was 4 and 5. And until right now, I just realized, oh, that's right, I played X from the PSP. And you know, like, I'm sorry guys, like the whole, like I know they were trying to go for that catchphrase, the whole like dancing with the angel stuff, like, like no, like it didn't work with me. But you know what, I've done enough rambling, like I'm just gonna jump into it. I just figured like I should just mention like my 2 cents on that. Alright then, so basically like, if you guys already know, like in the last video I took the F-16. Now in this video I'm definitely gonna take the F-4E, mostly because of course like it excels in ground missions, and it's always been like a thing, like F4 it's always been used for like grounds at most. And honestly it's because I have a fondness for the F-4E, because the first game that I ever played regarding like Ace Combat was Ace Combat 4, and the first aircraft they gave you was the F-4E. And ever since then, like I've always had like a little like, you know what, like a little like admiration for the plane, because it was the first plane I flew in that series. So just to pay a little homage to it, I'm definitely gonna take it right now. And just to keep it like very classy, I'm still gonna take the Unguided Bombs. And that should be all for right now. I mean, there's not much to say at this point.
Mage Squadron, sortie ASAP.
Going very straight to the cockpit mode.
There's still military vehicles and anti-air weaponry. Destroy the target. But HQ has made it clear that no harm should come to civilians and no damage is to be done to public facilities.
But, any aircraft shot down could land in civilian territory.
No point arguing. That's how war is these days.
So I'll definitely try my best like not to talk over like the dialogue, but I'm noticing that it's really hard since like they tend to talk every like 5 seconds. Alright, so definitely like I am not going to use the cockpit view because it's just way too crowded, and I basically missed that. And so basically one thing I'm already noticing about the F4, like any of the F4, like on any game, is that the turning is so slow. But you know, like, no problem. I have no problem with that.
It's popping off now, Trigger. The war has officially begun. Being attacked by enemy aircraft. We're using the containers now. Those weapons are meant for tactical flexibility.
H2,
Alright, time to try out the unguided bombs.
Lock acquired. Get the fighters out there. Attack the radar vehicle. Where's our support? If you don't get some fighters soon, the whole base is gone.
You know, the funny thing is that I'm pretty sure I'm not even gonna use those, like, in later missions, because the more stuff you get, you're basically gonna ignore, like, unguided bombs. No one uses it, like, until, like, nobody uses it, like, for later missions, not anymore. So, this is probably gonna be, like, the only few times I'm actually gonna be using it and showing it to everyone. Alright, might as well just use all of them. Ooh, that's a good one. That's actually new. I noticed it, that it actually marks where it landed, because usually it doesn't tell you. Well, when I played it for the PS2, it didn't tell you.
We'll go. Here they come. Take them down. Okay,
Yeah, I'm just gonna ignore those guys. I think we see like too much ammo and just like not even the targets.
It's reliable, so trust your radars. We've got recourse.
Oh, there we go. Man, I don't know why it took me so long to get it.
Two targets remaining.
That radar was just about to go online.
Nope. Oh, that didn't get it. That's a bummer.
Far from Allied territory. Evading enemy missile.
Alright, that's a helicopter. For sure.
Enemy has entered clouds in pursuit.
H2, missile launch.
Oh, wow. I missed both of those.
Locked.
Oh, missile.
H2,
Oh, G-turn.
Enemy airstrikes are falling. We're done for.
Yeah, it's really slow, the turns. The turns are so slow on this one.
Target has been destroyed. Way to go.
Lock 2.
Where is it?
Coming at you. Evade.
Wait, was that even following me? Oh, wow. Alright, bombs away.
It's chow time.
that was the last radar vehicle.
Man, this is basically like, honestly, this is just like what was I honestly forgot what that mission was called, but it's from Ace Combat 4.
Continue with the mission.
They're like, it's exactly like in an area like this where you have to take over a base, but in this case, I think it's just destroying it. Okay, so they're trying to take off.
Wait for the base.
Now I can get him with the bombs,
No, they're not linked to the radar vehicle.
and I missed.
Launch manually. Redo the setup. Here's some feedback.
Oh wow, that's not helping him at all. Alright, runway, already. Drop.
Bombs away.
Man, I gotta get those that are taking off.
Enemy missile inbound. Evading. Missile incoming. Evading.
Drop.
Enemy is flat.
Ooh, look at them lined up, waiting to be taken out. Could they get it? Yeah.
Box 2.
Oh wow, that didn't kill it. Alright, one more time. Drop.
Keep your line focused.
Well, I missed that. Alright. Can't keep forgetting about the flying aircraft.
You have a lock on you. Shake 'em.
Whoa.
Missile fired. Evading.
Oh man, not so good when it comes to dogfighting.
We really have interceptors. They're still pounding us. Enemy dogs. The clouds don't just affect your field of vision. They also
Yeah, I'm not
mess
gonna
with
let
your
him take
HUD
off.
and radar. The Seekers can sometimes lose their
Oh, come
lock
on.
on to their targets too.
If I could get one kill with the gun,
Transport destroyed.
that'd be good.
There's more. All transports have been destroyed.
Alright, perfect.
What were they carrying?
Almost crashed. Yeah, so far, like, nothing out of the ordinary. Alright. Wait, you know what? Let me just check the map. Is there, like, any... Is there an ace here somewhere? Like, I think I need to fly, like, off a certain distance to find the ace. But, I don't know. Wait. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know where it's gonna be. Alright. I'm gonna miss. Yeah, I missed that.
The clouds.
He dodged it.
And is that a hit? That's a hit.
Want us to take down the enemy without damaging any public facilities? That's gonna be a circus.
Oh, too much speed. Too much speed.
Missile away.
Nice. Nice. Alright. Alright, that should be the last one. Now we're in the other one. Oh, wow. I forgot about this. Alright. I was wondering, like, why does it feel too fast? I was like, oh, wow. Just to let you guys know, like, it's already been, like, maybe, like, more than a week since I played the game.
You're clear to engage.
So I kind of already forgot, like, what happens.
By the way they look and move, they gotta be drones. Well spotted, clown. No doubt about it, we're dealing with UAVs. But that doesn't change a thing. Just think of them as somewhat clever decoys. Take them all down. These drones have great agility. All aircraft. You know what high G turns are, right?
Alright, he's down. Did they only release 5? Yeah, it was 5.
Bandits confirmed as UAVs. Repeat, bandits are drones.
You know, honestly, like, looking at Ace Combat, like, the process, like, pretty much, like, how it progressed in the story, it was only a matter of time before, like, drones started becoming a thing. Because I remember, like, for Ace Combat 5, like, they only, like, mentioned it, like, the first mission, or, like, the second mission, where it was just, like, drones. Like, just, like a drone, simple drones. And I remember, like, one of the characters, which his name is Chopper, he started talking about, like, oh, like, it would kind of suck if drones started taking over the sky. And then it was, like, that little bit of information, like, was ever mentioned about that. So, I don't know, like, it just got me thinking about that. Like, was there any mention, like, other games that kind of, like, hinted to the whole drone thing? But yeah, there was little tad bits of it.
Got him in my sights.
And that's not gonna get it. Yeah, I'm inside the clouds. I keep forgetting, like, the clouds pretty much, like, reduced missile lockdown for not only the player, but also, like, for enemies as well. Come on, come on. Okay, now I feel like I'm taking too long now. And there's still 3. Great. It's gonna miss. It's not gonna get it. Oh, I got it.
I'm buying dinner for anyone who takes down an enemy.
Any aces? Any aces? No, no aces. Oh.
You're doing good.
I'll probably try to get him.
Just 2
Column 3, Fox 2. Bandits are in the clouds. You're targeted.
How are the other guys doing? You guys getting him? Nope. Of course. Of course. Oh man, dude, I remember Ace Combat 0, dude. Like, the AIs were so much better.
Where'd he go?
Like pretty much, like, your partner would take down, like, targets. If you give them enough time, like, just by themselves, they would take down the targets.
Nice kill, Trigger. Enemy aircraft confirmed down.
It's like the only AI partner I ever trusted up to now was pretty much, like, Pixie from 0, because they get down real quick.
I don't know. Maybe the bandits we took down caused civilian casualties.
No point arguing. That's how war is these days. You shoot, someone gets killed. The guys in charge take care of the rest.
That's basically how it is now. Yeah, because you wouldn't want your soldiers thinking about like getting like very like moral, especially when they're being sent to fight. So it doesn't make sense to pretty much be that mentality where, you know what, like we're just doing our job. Of anything else, don't think about it because there's people who are gonna take care of it. It's kind of like a bummer, but that's, yeah, I think like that's sometimes what it has to be, you know, like what can you do, because you basically did something for, you know, to be in that type of like situation. Oh, okay, cause I was like, oh, I couldn't skip that. Yeah, oh man, it's like all these targets, like, yeah, like I feel like Zero was very like, what was like, it was trying to go for like that political aspect. So that's actually one of the things why I like Zero.
Air superiority one of my favorites, destroying their radar. The first barrier keeping us from retaking the space elevator is gone. Now is the time to group up and begin the counteroffensive. Let us reclaim what is ours.
Yeah, I did not do good. I did not do good on this one because I was taking too long. I couldn't even get all of the targets. Even though this was like basically like the second run, like I still couldn't focus on it. I probably got like a, I feel like I got a B. Oh, so I got an A. All right, that's cool. Now, I don't know. I didn't even get a chance to actually like look at all of the map because I wanted to see if there was any like enemy aces. Because like I mentioned before, like if you shoot down like any enemy ace that has like a name and you shoot it down for like a specific aircraft that they were flying, you get the cosmetic of that aircraft. But you know, I'll definitely just check it again like in a later time. I'll replay it in my own time. Alright guys, so that pretty much wraps up this video. Like I mentioned before, it was quite unfortunate that my recording, like, you know, it kind of messed up. But once I start uploading like the third mission, everything should go back to normal because so far from what I've checked, nothing's wrong with that one. Once we finish with third, everything should go back right on schedule. I just didn't want to add like a video with like no noise, like nothing at all. Alright guys, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay safe and have a good one.